Welcome back to the Essentially You podcast, all about reinventing your health with safer, cheaper, more effective natural solutions and powerful lifestyle changes so that you become the CEO of your health. I am your host, Dr. Mariza Snyder. Happy New Year! It's officially 2019, and I am beyond excited to be on this amazing healing journey with you. It's my commitment to you to be a part of your healing journey and provide you with tools, protocols, and amazing experts, all designed to equip you with what you need to become the CEO of your health. Now more than ever, we must advocate for our health and take our well-being into our own hands. And the great news about this, your body is primed for healing miracles. Your body wants to be well and it wants to function at peak capacity. Later in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the healing trifecta that will reset your hormones, boost your metabolism, and get your energy back on track. Now today we are diving into a topic that just might change your life. I am taking a deep dive into the number one precursor to hormone chaos and how to get your body back on track. This topic, most specifically, is a big part of my new upcoming book, The Essential Oils Hormone Solution. Overcoming the number one precursor to hormone chaos is exactly what this book delivers, along with a 14-day hormone rescue protocol plan that hundreds of women have already participated in over the years with extraordinary results. I created this book to empower you with solutions at your fingertips for stress, anxiety, cravings, low sex drive, fatigue, brain fog, mood swings, and much more. And it's backed with hardcore research. Did you know that my bibliography is 40 pages long of cited research? That was a lot of research articles to read, let me tell you. It took me a good half a year to research this book. And in case you didn't know, it's available for pre-sale already. I would be very honored if you grabbed a copy for yourself and even your best friend. You know, all the women in my life are getting a copy. That I can guarantee. And when you pre-order your copy of the Essential Oils Hormone Solution, you will get instant access, like literally within a matter of seconds, in your inbox to over $300 in bonuses, including my self-care video series, my hormone masterclass, my best hormone cheat sheets, and the top 5 interviews from the Essential Oil Hormone Summit. And there's actually more than that. I don't know if I need to run down the entire list for you. Now, I'm going to have the link of the book bonus in the show notes, or you can simply just go to drmariza.com, drmariza.com/hormone book, and you will find it there. All you got to do is pick one of those retailers on the page, go and get the book, come back, add your name and your email, and voila, you have access to all of those incredible bonuses. Now, I want to take a moment, as I've been doing every single week. And by the way, in case you didn't know, we are going to be releasing 2 podcasts each week on Tuesdays and Fridays, starting this week. On Friday, I will be interviewing Diane Sanfilippo. She is a 2 times New York Times bestselling author. And I'm going to be spoiling you with some other epic interviews in the coming months. I think you are going to love all that is in store for 2019. And as I've mentioned on the last episodes, I just want to take a moment and just shout you out for sharing the love. Now, one particular listener is Bridget Danner, and I'm excited to share a shout out of her that she shared on iTunes. Bridget wrote, Dr. Mariza is a highly trained physician who has distilled the complexity of medicine into easy hacks and rituals that you can do every day to not only survive this crazy modern world, but also to kick butt. I don't know about you, but I am all about kicking booty. She is a very inspiring person who gives a lift in your day. Well, it's such a wonderful little testimonial, to start the new year. Thank you so much for sharing your review. And we are going to be sending you a 10 ml Superwoman Essential Oil Blend just as a small token of my appreciation. So thank you so much. Now, if you would like to get a shout out on the show, please feel free to reach out to me via Instagram at Dr. Mariza or on Facebook, or simply reviewing this podcast on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you choose to plug into. That way, I can continue on this massive mission of supporting women who are really ready to not only trust their bodies, trust their intuitions, be able to ask the right kinds of questions when they go to the doctor, and ultimately become the CEO of their healthcare for not only themselves, but their entire families. That is my crusade. That's why I feel like I've been put on this earth. And I am doing that every single week with this podcast, with my blogs, with my Insta posts, anywhere and everywhere I can be so that I can spread this message far and wide. You know, we as women have not been listened to for too long. Our bodies, our health has been dismissed. I know I have personally experienced that in the healthcare world, and I seek to change that. Your story matters, your health matters, and you deserve to have the body that feels amazing, that works. You deserve that energy. You deserve feeling happy. You deserve going out and doing the things that you love to do every single day. And when we're healthy, we really can show up and do those things. So let's jump into today's topic, because I am all lit up and excited to jump into this, to make powerful changes for 2019. And how I really want to start this conversation today, or start this topic, is just by asking you a question to get some clarity around what is really going on with you. So have you struggled with your hormones and can't seem to figure out what is really going on? Or do you find yourself not feeling like yourself anymore, but you can't put your finger on it? You just know that you used to feel better than this right now. You used to have more energy, the weight came off easier, you didn't feel anxious or worried at the end of the night, and you were able to get some deep, restful sleep. Now, I know this place, and I know you've heard me share my story before, but I want to talk a little bit about that story again. It's such a big part of my new book. It's a big part of why I do what I do. And as you may know, for many years, in my mid and late 20s, even into my early 30s, my body was desperately trying to tell me something. And I didn't do a great job of listening because for some reason, I just felt feeling crappy was normal and common. And it's just the plight that so many of us as women struggle with. And initially, these symptoms or these warning signs were kind of like a whisper. And honestly, it felt like normal to me. You know, I would have migraines. Well, those are normal, right? I would have abnormal painful periods. Oh, doesn't everyone have PMS? I was dealing with bloating. I was tired when I woke up. I was carrying around over-the-counter pain meds in my purse for neck and head pain, which I was dealing with practically on a day-to-day basis. Again, thinking that this was normal. And then what happened was that my experiences started to get even worse. I started to really accumulate some pretty serious hormone issues, and that stemmed from two key areas. One, my family lineage. All the women in my family struggle with hormone issues. My grandmother, my mom, my sister, myself, and probably even further down the line that I know about. And most importantly was the lifestyle that I was leading. What I found was that my lifestyle, most particularly, resolved around handling priorities with urgency. And not just handling priorities with urgency, handling everybody else's priorities with urgency. You know, I grew up believing that my worth as a woman was measured by how much I was able to do for others. So I worked hard from as early as I can remember. I was determined to prove my worth through hard work, serving others, and adding more to my plate. And at some point, my plate became this unmanageable, crazy platter. You know, you think of like the spinning plates in the air. That is very much what it felt like. It felt so uncontrollable. And yet, in all of this, I still found myself stressing out about not doing enough, especially for other people. And so much of this was driven by watching my mom growing up. See, my mom was a single mom and she worked really hard to take care of us. She was always on the go with a million priorities. She was basically kind of that super single mom, super career driven woman, and at the same time trying to somehow make it all work. And there were many times that she really struggled with unrelenting stress, horrible PMS, mood swings, weight struggles, name it. And what I learned through a lot of my research and what we're really going to be talking about today is that she and I both suffered from sympathetic nervous system dominance and the biochemical changes that drive the body into survival mode when we constantly have this endless to-do list and this sense of urgency in our everyday lives. As you can imagine, these earlier whispers seemed rather normal, as I mentioned before, and I thought that they were par for course in being just a very busy, productive woman at a young age. What I ultimately realized was that my body was trying to tell me that I was in trouble and that something needed to shift before the big health crisis could unfold. And as I started my journey to healing, I really began to realize that millions of women were dealing with the very same issues. When this all came to a culminating moment for me, I was in practice. I'd been in practice for over a year. I was seeing women who were struggling with hormone issues from stress, exhaustion, mood issues, brain fog, weight gain, headaches, pain. The list went on and on. And while I was working with these women and trying to get their bodies back on track, I remember that there was one day that I woke up after about 7.5 hours to 8 hours of sleep. And it literally felt, as I was trying to lift my head up off the pillow, that there was this imaginary heavy hand pressing me back down into the bed. That's how severe my bone-crushing fatigue was. And I got out of bed somehow. I remember kind of crawling and just dragging myself into the bathroom to get ready to take a shower, to brush my teeth, do all those things. And I looked in the mirror at this stranger. I didn't recognize her. And I remember thinking to myself, how dare you show up to this office today trying to take care of these women when they're literally the mirror of who you are right now. And that was that moment. That was that wake-up call. And what I realized in that journey over that year was that the number one precursor to hormone chaos that I saw and that I personally experienced was chronic stress. And in today's episode, I am going to explain exactly how our bodies respond to stress and what we can do to finally get our bodies back on track with what I call my hormone trifecta, this hormone solution that I have been researching for my upcoming book. Now, our health often moves in a spiral. And what I mean by that is it's either advancing in a positive or a negative way. For instance, if you wake up in the morning and you drink your green smoothie and you have your morning rituals, it is a lot easier to work out, eat right, and make good choices when we start the day making good choices and when we're feeling good. Now, when we're sick or we feel tired or exhausted and it's difficult to focus on health, it's a lot easier to make more harmful choices. Honestly, harmful choices beget more harmful choices. Just somehow it feels more appealing, or maybe it feels easier. So experiencing chronic stress is a powerful example of this spiral in action. Excess stress makes us sick, and it makes us very sick, from hormones to cardiovascular concerns to diabetes to cancer. Name it. Chronic stress is the key cause of almost all chronic conditions inside of the body, even things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And for a variety of reasons, this negative cycle continues to get worse, and it can create a lot of hormonal imbalance and more chronic stress. This is kind of this crazy vicious cycle we're on. Goodness knows, it very much felt like a vicious cycle when I was on it. And the thing of it is that our modern life really sets the stage for more frequent episodes of stress. Social media, constant to-do list, environmental pollutants, all play a role in this modern life that we're living. And activated stress responses are commonly due to unhealthy lifestyle choices, such as limited social connections, inconsistent sleep habits, poor nutrition, among other things. And I raise my hand in confession that I knew that lifestyle played a major role in what I was doing. I remember racing from one thing to the next, even though I wasn't running late. I don't know if you've ever found yourself doing that you're so used to being on the go, 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 right? Right, running from one thing to the next. I mean, I have been running from one thing to the next since I was in high school. I just found that to be more efficient. That is how ridiculous I had been. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I have struggled with being a chronic workaholic. And I've worked really hard to overcome that. Not that I'm winning or I'm perfect at it. Goodness knows there's definitely times that I failed. I'll tell you what, while we were producing this podcast, not this particular episode, but other episodes, and writing the book at the same time, I definitely started slipping a little bit back into my old behaviors because it's so often hardwired into how we operate. And that is definitely a concern. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into what's happening here. Now, chronic stress created by modern life not only activates the HPA axis, and the HPA axis is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and it turns on our survival system, but also with enough stress brings about the possibility of a vicious cycle of feedback from other stress and its damaging effects. Again, just really talking about that spiral. Now, the adrenal glands, which is a part of the HPA axis, which, by the way, the HPA axis is what's happening in the limbic brain. You're kind of the survival part of the brain. That's where we house the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the hypothalamus. In that part of the brain, your body's perceiving danger. It's perceiving stress. It's perceiving situations. And we can overactivate that HPA axis. Now, the adrenal glands are on the receiving end of those messages. So if your body thinks that there's a tiger behind you, the HPA axis upregulates, so it turns on like a switch in a way, and it sends messages to the adrenal glands and tells the adrenal glands, hey, wake up. We got to send survival hormones out into the system to begin to change and regulate the way our respiratory system's working, our digestive system, our reproductive system, our cardiovascular system, our neurological system, so that we are acute and ready for any type of survival circumstance, right? So the adrenal glands are the primary effector of the body's response to stress. Now, the HPA axis, the communication from the hypothalamus to the pituitary to the adrenals, allows the brain to rapidly respond to stressors of all types that are perceived by the brain. And again, your brain can't necessarily distinguish between a tiger behind you and you being late on a deadline, right? Or you receiving a text message, or you scrolling through Instagram and seeing something there that completely throws you off, right? Offends you. Your brain doesn't know the difference. And so one way or the other, you upregulate this stress spiral, sending stress hormones into the body, such as epinephrine and cortisol. The cool thing about this whole response system is that if there really was a tiger, and if there really was a dangerous situation that you needed to fight or flight, thank goodness this system acts so rapidly quick. The problem is when this happens every single day, multiple times a day. I get interviewed on other podcasts, and I've been talking a lot about recently is these clutch the pearls moments. Now, I've got a best friend, she lives in the Bay Area, who I'm actually going to get to see very soon. Her name's Candace, and Candace and I always joke that we are constantly having clutch the pearls moments. Think about like, oh my gosh, I forgot to, turn the car off, or oh my gosh, I'm running late to this meeting, or oh my gosh, I forgot to turn the coffee pot off, whatever it is. Like, oh my gosh, I just said the wrong thing in front of the wrong person, like those clutch the pearls moments. That thing is that every time you clutch the pearls, every time you have one of those, oh my gosh, moments, which by the way, my husband's always like, what is going on? What's happening? And it's never anything, right? Oh my goodness, I left the keys in the car, or I forgot the keys when I was running to the car. Again, all of these clutch the pearls moments that feel very dramatic. The thing of it is that your body actually thinks that it is an emergency. So the physical toll caused by increased levels of chronic stress can be extensive. Now, when we're activating or overactivating the HPA axis, our body begins to increase blood glucose levels and free fatty acids in a chronic fashion. These amount to becoming very harmful. And I want you to consider the following from the Journal of Hormones in 2009. Chronic stress can lead to overeating, co-evaluation of cortisol and insulin, and suppression of certain anabolic hormones. This state of metabolic stress in turn promotes abdominal visceral fat. Both the direct stress response and the accumulation of visceral fat can promote systemic inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, which then leads to another slew of issues down the line. So in short, researchers feel that chronic stress responses can create hormonal changes that may promote obesity, chronic disease states, and even increased mortality rates. And since the root cause is usually the HPA axis, right? It's the perceived stress that the brain is having that's sending these messages out to the rest of the body. The key is to reset that. So now that we know what the problem is, right? The number one precursor to hormone chaos is really this HPA upregulation that's creating chronic stress in the body, that's having a profound impact on our metabolic hormones, our reproductive hormones, our gut, and our thyroid. How do we begin to heal this? How do we begin to correct this root cause? And the thing of it is that any other attempts at fixing the hormones, other hormones, such as thyroid, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, insulin, leptin, whatever it may be, that the attempts to fixing those hormones before you address this HPA axis situation will likely fail in the long term because the HPA axis was not addressed. So I wanted to share a simplified version of my protocol because I go into far more detail in the Essential Oils Hormone Solution book, and that's 400 pages. We don't have 400 pages today, but here's my protocol for becoming more objective about your stressors and balancing cortisol in women. And note that a lot of this has been proven through randomized trials, and it's really the best evidence we have right now for one, creating more stress resilience and relaxing the HPA axis, this hyper-triggered response to whatever perceived stress is in the environment. So number one, the first thing that we got to do is have a network of friends or family to rely on. In today's world, we are becoming more and more isolated, and it's impacting our mood, leaving us feeling more depressed and anxious. Having a friend or a family member that we can connect to or even hug is so critical. And that's because when you are hugging and you're connecting with your friends or your partner, whoever it may be, that helps to increase oxytocin levels in the body. And if you are wondering how oxytocin works, well, in the brain, oxytocin acts as a chemical messenger, and it has been shown to be an important, super important in human behaviors, including sexual arousal, recognition, trust, anxiety, and mother-infant bonding. As a result, oxytocin has been called the love hormone or the cuddle chemical. It's technically what I love to call it. I call it the cuddle hormone. And oxytocin is the hormone that underlies individual and social trust. It's also the antidote to depressive feelings, and it reduces the stress response, including anxiety. So I say have your bestie on speed dial or have people close to you. I know so often we rely on social media to connect with our friends, but it's really that person-to-person connection where you can get hugs and have that connection that really help to boost that important hormone in the body, that oxytocin, that helps to slowly lower the stress response, slowly lower the HPA axis overregulation, and to really allow us to feel less anxious and worried. Number two, and this is a big one. I talk about it all the time, and I can't emphasize how important this is, and that is practice self-care. It is time that we put ourselves on the list. You know that list where everyone else is on it, but it's time to put you on that list. For 2019, that is what we're doing. You know, self-care is vital to boosting self-confidence, maintaining good health, increasing your productivity and focus, and lowering those chronic stress levels. Taking care of ourselves mean that we are our best when we take care of others, whether that's being a parent, interacting with coworkers, or running your own business. When we talk about self-care, really what it is, it's about taking an inventory of how good you feel or how good you want to feel. Self-care for me includes morning and evening routines along with a belief in yourself. And I'm talking about a positive belief in yourself. Breathing deeply, being positive about your day, eating right, drinking water, making sure that you're hydrated, moving your body, journaling, meditation, aromatherapy, day setting, and gratitude. Now, you don't have to do all of those things, but to me, that's what self-care is. It's creating the rituals and the lifestyles where you are nourishing your body so that you are showing up how you want to show up in the world. Now, I want to share a couple of incredible things that I do in my morning routine. And I do actually have a podcast episode, Why Your Morning Routine is So Incredibly Important. It's basically, why a morning ritual will change your life. It's episode number 9. And, a big part of my morning ritual is number 1, day planning, day setting, creating my priorities. I think that's such an important part of self-care. Number 2 is not getting to my phone or not getting into my email first thing in the morning so that I am still my own priority and not somebody else's priority. Making a matcha latte, drinking water with lemon, walking up my little hill outside of my house, writing in my journal every single day. These are the things that set the tone for my day and really allow me to start my day with less stress. Clearly using oils in the morning is a big part of it as well. But when I set the tone for my day, even if it's 15 or 20 minutes, my goodness, I don't feel like I'm just hyper kind of a Tasmanian devil on coffee running around the house. So that's super, super important. It's one of the first things I really recommend if you're wondering, how do I even get started with self-care? Well, just create a 5, 10, 20-minute self-care ritual in the morning where you are focused on yourself. At the very least, don't open your phone, don't go to your email, and nourish your body, write down things that you're grateful for, and use a couple essential oils. And speaking of essential oils, that is the third thing on this list. One of the fastest proven ways to lower the HPA axis, to shut that whole overactive system down, is using aromatherapy. And my go-to essential oils for lowering stress levels, dropping serum cortisol levels, even lowering blood pressure and your pulse are going to be floral oils like clary sage, lavender, ylang-ylang, jasmine, geranium. All of those are phenomenal oils. Even wood oils like cedarwood and sandalwood and arbor vitae, those are also great. They're very grounding. They're very relaxing. Like I love cedarwood and lavender, or I love lavender and Roman chamomile. My gosh, the combinations are endless. It's really just figuring out what you want. But I've been sharing a blend for many years now, and this is my stress relief roller blend, and this blend is specifically designed to help dial down the HPA axis. So this is a 10 ml roller, because you guys know how much I love roller blends. I love taking this blend everywhere I go. And I mentioned a lot of the oils already just a moment ago. And in this stress roller, it's 7 drops of frankincense, 7 drops of lavender, 8 drops of cedarwood, and 5 drops of bergamot. And what you're going to do is you're going to top this off with fractionated coconut oil. And what I love to do is apply it to the back of my neck, my temples, my wrists, the mastoids right behind the ears, and rubbing it over my palms. You guys know how I do it. Rub it on my palms. I actually have a roller on me right now. Rub my palms together and take 3 to 5 deep reset belly breaths. So just allow yourself to reset. And when you do this, I call this the power of the pause. So take that deep breath in like this, and you're going to hold it for 5 seconds. And then you're going to release it out. And at the very bottom, after you've exhaled all that air, I want you to hold it again for 5 seconds. And when you do this 3 to 5 times, you are literally changing your neurological pathway from sympathetic nervous system mode, which is, again, fight or flight, stranger danger, survival mode, to parasympathetic rest and digest mode. And that's what we want. We want to increase your stress resilience so you're not constantly firing that HPA axis and creating a state of survival inside of the body where everything goes haywire. Now, another blend I want to share, because sleep is such a critical piece to us reducing stress levels. If you are not getting enough sleep, let me tell you, your body is going to be in stress mode. A lack of sleep is probably one of the biggest issues when it comes to misfiring or upregulating that HPA axis and feeling so overwhelmed and stressed. So I want to make sure that I'm setting you up for success with my deep sleep roller blend. Now, I love a roller because it's so easy to roll on your bottom of your feet, roll on the back of your neck, breathe it in, whatever works for you. And it's just 2 ingredients. That's it. And it's 10 drops of lavender and 10 drops of vetiver. Now, if you can't get your hands on vetiver, no worries. You could do 10 drops of cedarwood or 10 drops of sandalwood. Just as long as you're using the lavender and one of those wood oils, that is the recipe for success. Now, I will say that lavender and vetiver are the best choices. So if you can get your hands on those 2 oils, amazing. So 10 drops of each, top it off with fractionated coconut oil, and then you're going to just apply it to the back of the neck. You're going to apply it to your palms and take deep belly breaths, apply it to the bottom of your feet, and I promise you, you are going to start to experience amazing, deep, restful sleep. You're going to shut off that mental chatter, shut off that anxious and worried feeling that you have before going to bed, and that wired and tired experience that you're having because your cortisol levels are deregulated, usually in the nighttime. So those are going to be my go-to oils. Also, if you want to turn this into a spray, you can. And my other sleep oils that I love are bergamot, clary sage, Roman chamomile, and cedarwood. So those are my other go-to favorites when it comes to sleep. The other ones that I want to recommend, this other incredible list of lowering cortisol levels, lowering the HPA axis, because that's what we're talking about today, is if you can afford it, get a massage once or twice per month. Or go to yoga or go to a meditation class, something where you can just completely unwind and relax those tense muscles. Next is limit your alcohol and coffee intake. Ideally switch to green tea, which contains L-theanine and amino acids to reduce stress without sedation. That's why I love matcha green tea so much. You guys know I have a book on matcha called The Matcha Miracle. And there's so many amazing benefits to matcha green tea, especially the L-theanine and the powerful antioxidant content in matcha. So definitely worth switching over to. Now, if your symptoms do not resolve after doing some of these lifestyle techniques, it's time to bring in some bigger guns, right? I want you using your oils. Have those oils with you at all times because, again, oils can flip you so quickly from a state of fight or flight survival to relaxation, especially with breathing techniques. But also you can step it up with adaptogenic herbs like holy basil, rhodiola, and ashwagandha. Personally, I'm a fan favorite of ashwagandha and rhodiola, especially for women and hormone imbalance. So ashwagandha boosts the ability to combat chronic stress levels while restoring proper reproductive function, especially for helping to boost low sex drive. Other benefits include supporting memory, cognition, as well as alleviating symptoms associated with depression and anxiety without side effects. So definitely worth checking that out. I usually recommend about 500 milligrams a day. Now, rhodiola also helps to fight those stressors that plague the body to revitalize our overall wellness as an adaptogenic herb. The mind-body connection greatly benefits from this powerful adaptogenic herb, and it helps to balance your mood while fighting symptoms of fatigue and distress. Now, personally, you can take both. I think combining the two creates an amazing blend for sustainable energy to revitalize your mind and really create overall support in your well-being. And again, as I mentioned, I normally recommend 500 milligrams of each. Now, lastly, it may be worth taking phosphatidylserine, and that allows you to perceive less stress in the limbic brain and to ensure that your HPA axis is no longer hypervigilant. And normally, I recommend around 300 milligrams of the phosphatidylserine. Now, those are all of the recommendations I want to give for lowering that root cause, right? That number one precursor to hormone chaos, this upregulated HPA axis. Now, in my upcoming book, as we've been talking about today, I dive even deeper than I did in today's conversation. regarding the implications of chronic stress on the body and what you can really do about it. I mean, we covered a lot of solutions here, probably enough to get you started, but this book really goes into so much more detail about all of the hormones. What are the implications here of living this crazy lifestyle, and what can we do to make these changes in a very short amount of time? Because let me tell you, we're not at a point of no return. Even I, completely chronically fatigued and exhausted, was able to get myself back on track. So in my research, I discovered, as I mentioned earlier, this trifecta to losing stubborn weight, boosting energy and focus, getting deeper restful sleep so that your body can truly recover. And this trifecta is number 1, nutrition, specifically how to eat for your hormones. Number 2, self-care rituals, which we've been talking about today. They're all throughout my book. Every single chapter is self-care rituals that you can begin to implement and figure out what's best for you. And then the power of essential oils. And if you're wondering why essential oils, well, number 1, they are designed to amplify your results. And I'll tell you what, we use them every single day, and we would not use them if they didn't amplify our lifestyle, if they didn't amplify our healing habits. They are the first thing that we reach for in our house. Also, you get to experience instant wins with oils. And for me, a non-toxic instant win for more energy or better sleep or less cravings or supporting my mood is a win-win. And then last, what I love about oils is they help to boost that metabolic fire. So if you find yourself that you've been dealing with chronic stress and it's completely messed up your metabolism like it had me for so many years, oils can really help to reset the system to get your body back on track. Now, if you are finally ready to crush your cravings, increase your energy, and get deep, restful sleep without side effects, I have created a free hormone masterclass series that is designed to give you the results that you have been seeking. I created this masterclass series with one intention: to help you create instant wins geared towards more energy, overcoming cravings that come out of nowhere, because let's be honest, all cravings just seem to come out of nowhere, and ensuring that you get deep, restful sleep, free of anxiety and mental chatter. Now you can register for my free exclusive Hormone Masterclass series. It's in the show notes, or just go to drmariza.com/MC stands for masterclass. So drmariza.com/MC. And then you can also, if you're ready, grab a copy of my new book along with the $300 in bonuses just by going to drmariza.com Hormone Book. Well, those are all the things that I really wanted to share with you today. I hope that you gained a little bit more clarity on what is happening with the body, how important it is to get chronic stress under control, and what are some of the big steps that you can take to really begin to get to the root cause of that problem. I want to say thank you so much for stopping by and listening into the Essentially You podcast and just coming in on this beautiful first day of 2019. I tell you, I am so excited for this year. I'm so excited for this year for you and for me, because I know that this is the year where we're going to create some massive and incredible changes, not only for our bodies, but for our lives. Now, my next episode, which is actually happening this Friday, is going to be featuring Diane Sanfilippo, and she is amazing. We talk about how to hone in on your personal food philosophy. And let me tell you, she was such a breath of fresh air when I got to interview her. You are going to love this interview as much as I do. And I'm so excited that she gets to be the second interview this year, where we are going to 2 podcast interviews per week. Well, I have loved connecting with you today. And as I mentioned, I am so excited to be a part of this incredible healing journey with you this year. We have a lot in store on the Essentially You podcast, and I can't wait to be a part of this amazing journey with you. Until Friday with Diane Sanfilippo, I look forward to you having a wonderful week. Bye.